going on, guys? This is Dave from PNP, and I'm here to talk to you about Underdog Fantasy. I just want to remind you that it's the easiest place to play. There ain't too many places where you can win 20 times your money in the same night, utilizing higher lowers in the pick'em game. And now they have pick'em insurance, where while you won't win the same amount of money that you did before, you can miss one and still bring home some money. So if you do it 3 times, you can potentially still get your money back if you end up missing one. Go to UnderdogFantasy.com and sign up today and use the code PNP when you do. And the $100 deposit match still stands. Underdog Fantasy. All right, guys, what's going on? This is Dave, one half of PNP. We're going to get into these fantasy questions. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. We got inactives coming up in about 6 minutes, give and take, about 6 or 7 minutes. The inactives will start coming in. I have not checked the tweets this morning, so I have no idea if anything's changed from what I expected. I don't think there's going to be too many surprises today from that standpoint. I do think that now you're in the moment of do or die. You're in the final 4 weeks of your fantasy season, so you need to make sure you win these games. It is seeding time prior to kickoff. If your handcuffs are there, go get them now, because now it's about to get real. Injuries have been insane as of late. There are folks who are looking for players right now. The trade deadline is probably up for a lot of you guys. Start considering what moves you want to make with regards to your trades. So the bottom line is this. This is the time where you got to start setting your roster up to go and make a run for the playoffs. If you're sitting at 5-5, 6-4, 7-3, you got to put them finishing touches. If you're 4-6, you still got a shot. There's been some crazy things that's been going on. There's 4 weeks left in the season. But this is the point of the season where you want to finish strong. You want to carry that momentum into the playoffs. And then once you get into the playoffs, the goal is just to win 3 games. The record doesn't matter then. So if you got some guy that's sitting there 9-1, 10-0, he or she is comfortable, it does not matter when the playoffs start. All right, let's get into some of these questions. All right, top of the morning, sir. Top of the morning. Pollard, Mixon, Jacobs, what's the order? For me, pay attention to what's going on with Ezekiel Elliott. Last time I checked, he was still questionable. He still might play today. If that is the case, the order would be Mixon, Jacobs, Pollard. If he does play, it's probably going to still be the same. Even if Zeke doesn't play, it probably will still be the same order. If you have a flex spot, then it becomes a debate of whether or not you play Pollard, depending on whether or not Ezekiel Elliott plays. So that's how I feel about that. I think you have to start Mixon and Jacobs over Pollard, period. So those are your top 2 guys, regardless of the order. All right. Oh, yeah, rough loss yesterday, man, but it's okay. I think there's just going to be a lot of questions that's going to have to go down with regards to the direction of the program. The run of the Big South is over. We're about to head into the CAA, so we'll see how it goes. All right. Pacheco Pickens, give me Pacheco today. It looks like he finally took the starter job. Clyde Edwards-Helaire only had 1 snap last week, so I'm taking my chance with Pacheco today. 5-5 is not a bad place to be. I'm 5-5 in a couple leagues, man, and I'm one of the 5-5 teams I got. I'm confident I got a shot to win the whole thing. I just, if I win this week and then I pull it off next week, I think I'm very confident I have a shot to win this week. You start Josh Allen every week. I'll repeat, you start Josh Allen every week. Hunt, Darrell Henson, or Latavius Murray. We got to check the inactives to see whether or not. Oh, Latavius Murray plays for Denver now. Give me Henderson over those 3, but it's close. Henderson's going to probably get the bulk of the work still. Moore or Smith, non-PPR. Smith. Especially since Baker's starting. I don't trust him. I don't trust him to give DJ Moore the targets that he needs. I just don't. There's no reason to prove, and if I'm wrong, so be it. I don't care from that standpoint. There's no data that shows me that I can be confident that Baker Mayfield is going to be able to get target DJ Moore. Now, that being said, this is going to be a unique situation, right? When you start thinking about the fact this is going to be Baker Mayfield's first start with Steve Wilks as the coach. That being said, you're going to be dependent on garbage points. But if we're at a garbage state, we could see him get benched. Wilks has already said that they want to see Sam Darnold. So we have no idea how this game's going to go. But I do know this. Steve Wilks, as the head coach so far, has shown that he will show that the team plays very well against divisional opponents, but struggles tremendously against non-divisional opponents. We saw it against the Rams. We saw it against Cincinnati, and we're playing Baltimore today. So from that standpoint, I'm very concerned about that. So off that alone, I'm taking Devonta Smith. Now PPR is going to be tough either way, but Devonta Smith is more likely to maybe get 6 than DJ Moore is. Tua got a bye week and Lamar's questionable to play, so I might not have a computer play for my team. Yeah, you do. You better have one on deck. You got to find one on deck. What time does Lamar play? Because if Lamar plays at 1 o'clock, your decision is going to be easy. Because in about 2 minutes, you're going to know what your problem is going to be. So what's the schedule looking like? Let me pull the NFL schedule real quick. I'm not sure what the deal is today. Lamar plays at 1 o'clock with us. So wait and see. Lamar's playing, man. You think Lamar's not going to play today? Lamar's playing. You think he's going to not play? He's playing. You're starting Lamar. But we'll know in a couple minutes. And actors are due soon. So, I'll have that up in a second. So we'll know. Your answer is going to be clean. And then we'll just have to find a 1 o'clock quarterback for you to play. You might have to drop somebody and you might have to have 3 quarterbacks on your roster, which goes back to my discussion point about you need to start making these trades and figure out who your guy is going to be. You have Tua and Lamar Jackson. You can trade one of them and get something to fix a hole that you have on your roster, and I'm pretty sure you have one on your roster if you have Lamar and Tua. Oh, now you got to play Pollard if that's the case. You're telling me your choices are Sutton or TMJ. You got to take a chance with Pollard. Now, Sutton might be interesting, though, depending on what happens with the wide receiver core. Because if Judy's out, Sutton's back to being the guy, and Russell Wilson has no problem throwing it to Sutton 10 times a game. And that's wide receiver 1 target share. So you can't be mad at that. Out of these 4 guys, Hopkins is the correct answer. Do I play Sutton, Hopkins, Amon-Ra, or Pittman? Hopkins. DeAndre Hopkins. Kenyon Drake or Michael Pittman? Give me Michael Pittman. DeAndre Hopkins and Amari Cooper? Give me DeAndre Hopkins. Fun fact, Donovan Peoples-Jones has gotten more targets than Amari Cooper over the past 2 weeks. So, yeah, give me DeAndre Hopkins here. Yeah, give me DeAndre Hopkins here. Rashad White or Michael Carter, who you keeping as a backup running back through the stretch? I would try to keep both. You never know. Michael Carter, is he considered a backup yet? Because Michael Carter's been still getting a lot of touches. I like Rashad White a lot because Rashad White has been getting a lot of love from Tampa Bay. Looks like Leonard Fournette is a little bit banged up. So I think that Rashad White is probably going to have some factors involving that. Let me cut my sound off because this is getting ridiculous. So let me go ahead and change this. Let me see here because my daughter out here sending me messages. Give me 1 second, guys. There we go. No way, ain't got to worry about it. I think I'll say White. We'll say White. We'll say White over Carter for now. Which 2 to start? Brian Robinson, Pacheco, Elijah Mitchell, both just running bees. You know what I mean? They appreciate it, man. I like Brian Robinson this week, man. Also, give me these are interesting. Give me Robinson, and you know what? Elijah Mitchell is interesting, but I'm still sitting at a wait and see type of situation with him. So give me Pacheco. I'm gonna go with Rob and Pacheco this week. Need 2. Pickens, Tony, or Wilson. Give me Tony for sure. And I think Tony and Wilson. Pickens is interesting, but I'm kind of hesitant. But I know you want to play Pickens based on that picture you got there, sir. But you definitely need to play Tony. If your fandom gets in the way to play Pickens over Wilson, I'm not mad. But you got to play Tony this week. The wide receiver core in Kansas City has been depleted. They've had a lot of injuries as of late. So I think I want Tony. Tony could win somebody a fantasy championship this year. DJ Moore, Jay Jettas, I'm assuming that's Justin Jefferson. This should never be a question in your life. And that's all I'm going to say about that. DeAndre Hopkins is questionable, though. That's why I asked. Didn't practice as much this week. I don't give a damn. Is he going to play or is he not going to play? When does Arizona play? Let's see. Arizona plays tonight. Okay. If he's questionable, who is your other option? Cooper? And the Browns play. What time do the Browns play? Cleveland probably plays before that. Yeah, they play at 1 o'clock. All right, so if that's the case, you got to play Cooper. I'm sorry. You just got to play him because you can't take that risk at that point. So yeah, you're just gonna have to play Cooper, man. Unless you get word that Hopkins is definitely going to play before kickoff at 1 o'clock, you got to play Cooper. This is another situation where you got to trade one of these guys, man. You don't want to be dealing with this every week. I think Fields is going to win a lot of folks' championships, though. So I would take Fields over Lamar. But that being said, you need to trade one of them. Trade the guy that will get you the most value. I think both of them could win you a fantasy championship, but you don't need both at this rate. You need to trade one of these guys. But if you're asking me Fields or Lamar this week, Fields. If you end up falling on Fields via picking them up on waivers or you actually drafted 2 quarterbacks, congrats, but you got to trade one of these guys. Point blank, period. You have to trade one of these guys. Because let me tell you something. I got a story for you. There's a guy in one of my leagues that has Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. And I am ecstatic because he ain't interested in trading either one of them. So he just got both of them sitting there. I only got to deal with one of them the whole season. I have no complaints. Right now, he's outside looking in. So he might finally cave and trade one, but I have no complaints. DJ Campbell or A-Rob. I don't want nothing to do with that wide receiver core in Los Angeles, man. I'm trying to think about who the hell Campbell is because I don't know who is Campbell. Sometimes I'll be forgetting names. Oh, Paris Campbell. Oh, give me Paris Campbell. Sorry. Yeah, Paris Campbell. Paris Campbell over the other two. Paris Campbell's been getting a ridiculous amount of targets. Oh, you got to go Stephon Diggs as D-Hop is questionable. Now you got it. Yeah, like I said, you're going to have to play with Cooper, man, because you can't take the risk. Unless you have somebody else that you can play for the Cardinals, like a Rondale Moore or maybe if you got Brandon Ayuk, somebody that you can pivot to to keep Hopkins in your lineup, then go ahead and do that. Otherwise, you're going to have to play Cooper. Honestly, man, for me, I don't care who you trade. Pick whichever one you want to trade. Just trade one of them. It doesn't matter for me. Yes, you can do the apples and oranges comparison, but at this point, it makes sense to trade one of them versus keeping both of them on your roster. So trade the guy that'll get you the best value. If there's somebody that really wants Lamar Jackson, trade Lamar. If there's somebody that really wants Justin Fields, trade Justin Fields, but make them pay for it. That's where I'm at. Like, there's no reason to try to figure out who to trade, what to trade. No, trade one of them because having both of them is a waste of a roster spot. You can fix a problem that you have on your roster. You can fix depth. You can fix something else regarding a position that you're struggling with. Like if you're short, if you out here saying that you're starting DJ Moore, you could trade Lamar Jackson or Justin Fields to fix that. Like, you could trade one of them to reduce the risk at a roster point. It doesn't matter which one you trade. That's how I feel. I've got Montgomery, Pierce, and Connor ahead of both. Hold on. Where are you? Wait, B-Rich. I got to go back to your first question, obviously. Well, no, then you already answered your question. I'd rather play them 3 over the other 2 options you had. And look, man, Cooper Kupp was just bad luck, right? You know, it is what it is. You just need to hope and pray he comes back. Because I think if the Rams keep losing games, they might shut him down for the season. So you guys better pay attention to how the Rams are doing. Because if the Rams continue to lose games, I wouldn't be shocked if Cooper Kupp played his last game this season. But if they win a couple games, they're still in the playoff hunt, I can see Kupp returning. Now, as for Goddard, you know, it is what it is, man. Tight ends of the wasteland, saying goes to wall, and quite frankly, you shouldn't have both. But that's a whole different discussion for a different day. If you guys watched my fantasy shows prior to the season, you would have known how I felt about the tight end position. And I said there was only 2 tight ends worth taking within the first 3 rounds, and one of them is hurt right now. Mark Andrews is hurt. But even then, you know, it is what it is. It's not DJ Moore shot. Don't be doing that, man. You be out here trying to create manufactured beef. Not at all. It has nothing to do with DJ. It has everything to do with the quarterback situation in Carolina. Baker Mayfield has shown that he doesn't like throwing it to him. Like, that's just the facts of life. That has nothing to do with DJ. Because DJ can't control Baker Mayfield's decision making. It's a known fact that P.J. Walker gave DJ Moore more targets than Baker Mayfield did. Sam Darnold will give DJ more targets. That is a fact. We've seen it. But Baker Mayfield has not. And that's just been a trend about him and number one wide receivers. We saw it last year in Cleveland. But I digress. Hockenson. I told y'all about Kyle Pitts. Hockenson over Pitts. All right. We're past 11:30. So let's we're at the point where a lot of the inactives will probably be up. So let me go ahead and get these inactives going. All right. Give me 1 second, guys. I'll share my screen while I drive for a bit. Jacoby Myers, then Brandon Cooks, then DJ Moore in that order. I'm worried about Cooks a little bit, but I'm also worried about DJ Moore. But Myers is the number one by far. It's not even close. Myers is a top 10 wide receiver, top 12 wide receiver every time he starts for the week. Give me Myers. He's dependable. Simple as that. No matter who the quarterback is, whether it's Mac Jones, whether it's Bailey Zappi, it doesn't matter. Myers gets the bulk of the targets in New England. Yep, I'm with you. Not a slight to DJ, just about the fact that Baker's playing has everything to do more with Baker than DJ at this rate. I'm not a fan of putting tight ends in the flex, so give me Elijah Mitchell here. And especially in the PPR league. Give me Elijah Mitchell. You play Mixon and you play Taylor. You don't play Brian Robinson on either one of those combinations. You play Mixon, you play Taylor. All right, let me pull up inactives. All right, we got a lot of inactives popping off right now. So give me 1 second. I'm going to share it. Let me pull this up real quick. Let's see. Share screen. All right. There we go. Let's see here what we got. Nope. All right, Gus Edwards is inactive, so you can fire up. I think it's Drake. If Edwards is inactive, you can definitely fire up Drake at this rate. Let's see. No surprises for Buffalo. No surprises for the Panthers. No surprises for the Bears. No surprises for Detroit or Green Bay. Green Bay paid on Thursday. No surprises for Houston. You know, Benjamin being inactive is good for Pierce, though. I will say that. That says a lot. That means he's not ready yet. No surprises for the Colts. We know that Jonathan Taylor's going to play. No surprises for the Patriots. No surprises for the Saints. Giants, no surprises. Jets, no surprises. And the Titans, yeah, whatever. All right, and Titans played already too, I believe, right? Yeah. Yes, the Titans played on Thursday. Okay. All right. Okay. All right, let me catch up a little bit. Nah, you play Elijah Mitchell. Mitchell had 18 carries. I agree. You play Elijah Mitchell. Pollard Gibson for flex. Monitor the Ezekiel Elliott situation. Let me see. Let me pull the schedule up. When does Washington play? All right, Washington plays at 1 o'clock. When does Dallas play? Dallas play at 4 o'clock. If you get word that Ezekiel's not going to play between now and 1 o'clock, Pollard, otherwise you might have to take your chances on Gibson, guys. You got to take a chance on Gibson. Rank these wide receivers: Robinson, Sutton, Williams, Garrett Wilson. Give me Mike Williams, Sutton, Wilson, Robinson. I don't trust any wide receiver from LA right now. David Njoku or Pat Freiermuth. Give me David Njoku. All right. All right, man. Fun times. Fun times. Let me see if I can do a refresh. All right, we got more. No surprises for Washington. No surprises for Philadelphia. All right. Nothing out of the ordinary. Nothing out of there. Make sure if you guys haven't done it already, make sure you guys like and subscribe to the channel, man. Really helps out the algorithms. So make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. I would never play a tight end on flex. I would never play a tight end on a flex. Unless I have Kelsey and Andrews and they're both healthy, I would never play a tight end on a flex. Never. Never. No matter who it is. If you're telling me tight end on a flex, I repeat, I would never play a tight end on a flex. Never. That should always, so just for reference for anybody, if you're going to give me a tight end or a running back or a wide receiver, unless that wide receiver is getting like 5 targets or less, I will never play a tight end on a flex. All right, Foreman or Pierce, give me Pierce here. I think Foreman's still going to have a pretty good day, but I think now that we know that, Benjamin's inactive for Houston, Pierce is going to get all the work. So give me Pierce. Do you think Marquise Brown is going to be productive for the rest of the season? Would you take a chance on Deshaun Watson if you are not happy with your quarterback? To answer the first question, I think Marquise Brown is going to be productive, but I don't think he's going to be wide receiver 1 productive. I think he's going to probably be more of wide receiver 2 flex spot productive. So from that standpoint, I think that we're going to be fine. I think he'll be fine from that standpoint. But if to expect him to play at wide receiver 1 numbers isn't fair because he balled out of his mind without DeAndre Hopkins there. Now, if DeAndre Hopkins gets injured again, then we're having a different discussion. But as of right now, Marquise Brown is a guy that I will trust to be a wide receiver 2 and a high-end flex for the remainder of the season if DeAndre Hopkins is healthy. Now, as for the second question, would you take a chance on Deshaun Watson if you're not happy with your quarterback? I would, but you have to understand that the first game or 2 is going to be a field period. So you got to take that into consideration, considering the timing. So it's a huge risk to try to just throw him in there. But if you're not happy with your quarterback situation, then yeah, I would be willing to take a shot because you're already not happy with the situation. So what do you got to lose? But you got to define what's not happy with your situation, right? Some people are not happy with Lamar Jackson. Would I do it then? No. But if you got Matthew Stafford, will I could do it then? Absolutely. So it all depends on who you have. I think you should get away from the names and look at the data. Because if you look at the data, Justin Field, if you go off the data for the full season, Justin Field isn't the guy that you play. But if you look at the data, the last month he's been the number 1 quarterback in fantasy. So you just got to look at the data, pay attention to the trends, and decide whether or not is that worth the risk with Deshaun Watson. The man hasn't played football in almost 2 years. You got to take that into consideration too. I'm not going to answer any questions about the Panthers-Ravens game only because there's a lot of questions going on about fantasy, and that's what I'm trying to get rocking. No, it doesn't make a difference. He's still Lamar Jackson, and we still haven't shown anything. Well, I know you're talking about from a fantasy perspective. I don't care about whether or not Lamar Jackson's sick or not from a fantasy perspective. I think he's going to do what Lamar Jackson does. He's going to get his rushing yards. He's going to get his passing yards and things of that sort. What's up, man? You need 2, Foreman, Drake, Williams, or Swift. Drake is going to probably be the 1, and I'll probably put Foreman at 2, only because I'm still concerned about the Williams-Swift split. Trey McBride, the top tight end, was Zach Ertz out? Yeah, but I think the wide receivers are going to benefit more than McBride will. If you need a tight end, I would take a flyer on McBride, though. I will say that. Chuba will always get action. I just don't think I will play him no higher than a low-end flex. No. I don't have my lineup in front of me, but I'm pretty sure it ain't where I want it to be. Let me see. Let me check real quick. And I don't typically bet like on one-on-one fantasy matchups like that. That's just something I don't do. But let me see what it looks like. Because now I'm curious. In the auction league. Oh, in the auction league. I gotta go to Yahoo to look that up. Probably not, man. My auction league team is kind of it's a miracle it's as good as it is, to be honest with you, considering all the injuries I've had. I've had Keenan Allen, and I've been trying to piece the team together all season. And then I've been playing some unlikely lineups, but I've been somehow winning them from that standpoint. Yeah, make sure you guys hit that like button, man. I got 35 folks watching. I need 35 likes. I know, you know what I'm saying, I don't get the numbers like the weekly with Rashad or the live games, which I'm going to make an appearance. So, yeah, make sure you guys hit the like and subscribe button. All right. So we're going to, let me see here. I'm going to check and see. While we ain't got no questions, man, we could talk about the game. Let me do one more refresh of the inactives, make sure everybody's covered from that standpoint. Yeah, by the way, for the Panthers' sake, you know, Justin looks like Jeremy Chinn's going to play. That's good. That's good to know. Let's see here. All right, now, since we got a little bit of time, nobody's really asking questions. Oh, wait, one more. All right, we got another one. Darius Slayton, DJ Moore. Darius Slayton. I need to see Baker Mayfield throw the ball to DJ Moore accurately enough for me to convince myself to play DJ Moore with Baker Mayfield starting. The Panthers have a shot if we have a game plan related to what we've had with our wins. I feel like sometimes the coaching staff overthinks it in these non-divisional matchups. And I also feel like our defense doesn't play as well in these non-divisional matchups. I feel like we have a shot to beat these guys. But the key is we got to stick to a game plan that works. But I'm very concerned about Baker. So we'll see what happens. Jamal Williams. I don't trust Harris, man. Yeah, I think Harris was the biggest first-round bust out of everybody, considering where you had to go to get him. And like where I was sitting in the draft standings, where I was in the draft spots, I was never in a good spot to take Harris. And I think that was a blessing in disguise. Because either I was near the bottom of the first round, where I would end up getting like a Dalvin Cook, or I was at the top of the first round where I would end up taking somebody like a Christian McCaffrey or something of that sorts. Dude, if you didn't play Aaron Rodgers already, it's too late. You got to play Murray. Oh, you're talking about your situation. Well, yeah, because you can't drop Murray. And I don't trust Rodgers. I would drop Rodgers personally over Watt and keep Watson and take my chances with Watson. Rodgers has not played that good, guys. Like, that's just the reality of the fact. So give me Smith and Thielen. Heineke playing. Looks like Heineke got the starting job because he's starting this week. With Heineke playing, that helps out McLaurin more does it help Curtis Samuel, in my opinion. God, if your other option is Dotson, bro, whew, that's tough. Yeah, the Raiders don't play until 4 o'clock. That's why inactives aren't. Raiders is a 4 o'clock game. Let me see here. Hold on. Let me see something. What does the news look like for Devontae Adams? Is he gonna he's questionable? But let's see. They're saying that Adams is expected to play, so I think he's gonna play. Man, take your chances and play Adams. Take the risk. Over Johnson, you got to take Dotson. You got to take the risk. if the game gets out of hand, I think we're definitely going to see Sam Darnold today. Like if we're getting blown out of the water, we're going to see Sam Darnold today. So then my whole DJ Moore theory will be going out the window, right? Yeah, I like Matt Collins over Dotson, to be honest. I answered this earlier. Fields. Fields is the answer. Oh, God. Give me Mariota here. Eagles defense or Buffalo defense for the rest of the season? Buffalo. If you have Fields and let's go back to this question. If you have Fields and Lamar, you need to trade one of them. I said this earlier in this episode. I'll repeat myself again. It's like a more of a recap. If you have Fields, if you have Lamar Jackson and Justin Fields, you need to trade one of them. I don't care which one you trade. Trade one of them to fix a problem that you have on your roster. And if you don't think you have a problem on your roster, then I don't know what to tell you. I'm pretty sure you do. That is a fact. Justin Fields should be started every week. I think there's only two quarterbacks I would start over Justin Fields for the remainder of the season. Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. And even then, it's a debate. You should be starting him every week. Point blank, period. Point blank, period. You got 4 weeks, man. I mean, what's your record to say that something like that, man? I've been in leagues where I was 3-7 coming into this week before week 4 games ago, and or that case would probably be 2-6 or 3, whatever, 3-7. I'll be 2 or 3 games out of a playoff spot with 4 games to go, and I would make the playoffs. So there's no reason to be panicking yet. I still think you should trade one of them. If you got, all right, this is the best way I'll put it. This is the best way to explain myself when it comes to this. If you have 2 quarterbacks that are startable, like if you have 2 QB1s at this point in the season, you need to trade one of them. Like it doesn't make any sense for you to keep 2 QB1s. None. Makes no sense. The quarterback position is not as it's more replaceable that you guys give it credit for. All right, that's the best way to put it. It's more replaceable than you guys give it credit for. I think folks overvalue the position. Do I think it's important? Sure. But I think we overvalue it. I think having a backup quarterback is not as conducive as having a wide receiver 3 or a RB3. That's my opinion. So because you're only going to start one quarterback, you know what I'm saying? There's only one quarterback that you're going to start. Holding 2 in your roster most of the time doesn't make sense unless you're in a 2 QB league. Then there's a reason to have 3, right? But because you only have to start one, it never makes sense to keep a backup quarterback unless you're sitting one to get through the buys. Like if you're trying to plan a week or 2 ahead prior to the bye, okay. And then that bye week guy, like for example, prior to the bye week starting, Justin Fields was a bye week guy. So if you picked up Justin Fields to try to cover your bases for the bye week, then Justin Fields goes off Now you're in a very great situation. But Justin Fields was a bye week guy. Like, he was a bye week guy. So it just so happens that he turned into the number one quarterback in fantasy, which proves my point that you shouldn't put too much value on a position. But that being said, at that point, okay, you need to trade one of them. But if you have two QB1s on your roster, you need to trade one of them. Because I promise you, you likely have a hole at the running back position, at the wide receiver position. Maybe somebody that took Travis Kelce early is hurting at the quarterback position. Maybe you could swing it and pull a Kelce. Like, if you have Tua and Fields, and you could trade Fields to go get a top flight tight end, I would do it in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. Because even though you're going to take a dip in production at the quarterback position, but it's about the astronomical lift that you're going to get if you have a Travis Kelce or a Mark Andrews to lead you through the championship weeks. That little dip that you're going to take from Fields to Tua is minor details because now you have an advantage at a position every week. That's the type of strategy you got to be thinking about. Having a second quarterback on your bench ain't helping you. It's not helping you. That's why I love it when I see it. Like, I embrace it. When I see two QB1s sitting on a bench, that tells me that, oh, I ain't got to worry about, only got to worry about one of them all season. And I might not, so I'm rolling. All right. If you got Montgomery, yes. If you got Montgomery. I don't know if it's worth keeping a roster spot if you ain't got Montgomery. I would do Montgomery here over Connor, especially since Murray ain't playing. But that's my point. Like, Tua's a beast, but you can still trade one of them. Like, you can't start both. That's the thing. You can only start one of them each week. So you're going to be out here pulling your hair out, trying to make a decision on who to start every week. And then you're going to always, and a lot of times you're going to start the wrong guy. And then you're going to have that moment where you start the wrong guy, you end up losing by the difference that the quarterback got you. And then you're going to be second guessing yourself every single week about who to start. Just trade one of them. Get some value back. So you ain't got to worry about it. Lift other positions within your roster by trading one of them. I don't care. Dude, I've won leagues with Blake Bortles, bro. I won leagues with Alex Smith. And I'm talking about bust Alex Smith. Not, I figured it out, Alex Smith. I'm talking about San Francisco 49er before he figured it out, Alex Smith. I've won leagues. Because there was one year where I had Peyton Manning. And Peyton Manning at this point was done for like the final 2 or 3 weeks of the season. I picked up Alex Smith and I won the championship. It ain't as important as you guys think it is. That's all I'm just trying to say. It's important, but not conducive to the value. I agree. I think the only time you should have a QB on your roster is for the bye weeks. That's it. Typically, I only draft one. I occasionally would draft two if I make the decision that I'm not going to take a quarterback until the 12th round or later. Then I might take two just to figure out which one's going to go. And then, because if I'm taking a quarterback that late, I've made a decision that I'm going to stream all season. So I'm just going to swap quarterbacks every week. I treat quarterbacks like defenses. I treat quarterbacks like tight ends. I just swap them every week. I swap them every week based on matchup. And if you watch my fantasy show, I did a slide deck talking about how you can stream the entire season with the quarterbacks that will be on the waiver wire. I did too. There's a funny story about that. It was a league it was a money league that I was in at the time, a few years back. And I made the decision that I wasn't going to draft. I was going to stream quarterbacks the entire year. I made that executive decision. And so that's what I did. Every week, I would just look at matchups and make a decision on who I would start. And let me tell you something. I started Deshaun Kaiser. I started Tyrod Taylor. I started pretty much whoever was in the waiver wire based on the matchup. That's who I started. But I played Kaiser for like 3 weeks and I went undefeated those 3 weeks. So, and then by the end. So like at one point I was like 7 or 8-0. Then I lost like 2 or 3 straight, mainly because of my quarterback position, because I wasn't getting much out of them. But I wasn't too worried about it because I knew I was going to end up the 1 seed, and I still felt like I was going to win it all. And somebody was trying to trade me Derek Carr, and he wanted like my RB2, and he wanted like a wide receiver 2, and I pretty much said, and the response via text I gave him was, I'd rather play Blake Bortles. And so I picked up Blake Bortles, and I played Blake Bortles, and I won the league. So that's where I'm at, man. Like, so I don't, if I get a good quarterback, cool. If I don't, cool. Because I know there's always somebody on the waiver wire that will pop. Every year there's at least 2 or 3. You know who the ones who popped this year? Here's some quarterbacks who weren't drafted this year that popped. Justin Fields, Tua Tagovailoa. At one point, Carson Wentz was a top 5 quarterback in fantasy prior to the injury. Like, these are guys that weren't drafted, that balled. I mean, we can just look at the data and I can show it to you. There's guys that don't get drafted every single year, and they end up being a QB1. Every year. Never fails. Just like defenses. Same thing. Every year. Never fails. Yeah, the numbers don't agree with you, bro. The numbers don't agree with you, especially with Kirk Cousins. By the way, that's another guy. So let's do an exercise here. Let's go here for a quick second. Let's take a quick ride. I got a little bit of time, but I got to get off soon because we got the joint. We got the other gig going on right now, and I got to get out of here before Rashad gets ready to go live. So, I don't want to be dual. So I'll be quick with the numbers here. But here we go. 2022 season, quarterback. Here's your averages. Here's your averages per game. All right, for the season. Justin Fields wasn't drafted. Tua wasn't drafted. Geno wasn't drafted. Kirk wasn't drafted in some of these two. Neither was Daniel Jones. He's out now, but when he was playing, he was in the top of the top. That's top 12, right? Am I counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Another guy. All right. Now, if you want to go by fantasy points, we can go by fantasy points. All right. There we go. Here's about fantasy points. Now, some teams haven't played, some players haven't played nearby, but we can still say it again. Geno wasn't drafted. Trevor was drafted in some pockets, but not too many. Tua wasn't drafted. Mariota definitely wasn't drafted. All right. Cousins wasn't drafted. So you can find a guy. It's my point. But now, if you do take the risk, you get the top of the top. You get the top of the top. Now, if you want to look at averages, let's look at averages, right? If you watch my fantasy show, I said that Mahomes, Allen, Jackson, and Herbert was the big 4. And I said Hurts was a dark horse as a guy that could potentially be top 5 that you probably could get later. All right. So 3 out of my 5 guys are in the top 3. And you could have paid less for Hurts and only would have gotten a 2-point difference per average. Okay. All right. Burrow, you could have got a little bit later. Some people were reaching for him. 4-point delta between the top 2 guys. All right. Lamar's doing his thing. Fields, a lot of leagues he wasn't drafted. Only a 6-point delta between the top guy, 4-point delta. But if you look at what he's done in the past month, he's been the top guy. He's been the top guy over the last 4 weeks. Look at how he started. But if you picked him up as a bye week guy, he's your guy. This is the man. Simple as that. I mean, that's just the reality of the fact. Same goes for Tua, another guy that wasn't necessarily drafted in some pockets. He had a situation with the concussion, so he was out a couple weeks. But when he was on, he was on. He's been balling. He's been playing pretty well. All right? And nobody drafted Geno. All right? Nobody. But Geno's been pretty consistent. I mean, he's had one bad game, one terrible game. Typically for my quarterback, I only want 15 points. Like 15 to 20 is the range. 7th best quarterback in fantasy. He's on bye this week, so we'll see where he drops after. But on average, my man's averaging 18.3 points a game. I mean, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9th. That's good for 9th in fantasy. So it's all about perspective, guys. That's where I'm at when it comes to that. So I think folks overvalue the quarterback position too much. We don't like. I think when you consider the fact that you only play one quarterback, you don't play two. You can so when we take a quarterback high, you're risking other positions when you do that. So that's why it's got to make sense when you make that decision. It's got to be an overwhelming advantage, and that's hard because all it takes is one injury. People are panicking about Josh Allen because he's got the elbow injury, but he's still holding the fort right now. But we're gonna see. But y'all are panicking right now because you had to take Josh Allen in the second or the third round to get him. So that means you didn't get your RB2. You didn't get your wide receiver 1. So that's what I'm talking about. It's about where you have to take these guys versus the value of it being worth doing. And we go, and it's something that is always a debate. All right. Yeah, man, I'm kind of mad I couldn't get Watson. I didn't in one league I was trying to get him. I didn't put enough money towards it. And even if I could, I didn't have enough money in my budget. I think he went for $70, and we had a $250 fab budget for the season. I only got $50 left, so I ain't have too much money to do it. So it was an unfortunate situation when it comes to that. Keenan Allen, if he plays. Geno Smith sure as hell wasn't drafted. He's a top 10 quarterback in fantasy. There's always at least one, guys. There's always at least one. Always one. Imagine if you made the decision to not take a quarterback early, and you're just like fumbling around, right? Then Geno has that big game. Then he has that slow game. So he's still sitting on your waiver. So people are kind of hesitant. And then you just say, you know what? My quarterback situation is a mess. Why not Geno? If you did that, you probably got a ridiculous team right now, because that means you probably was able to get an RB1, maybe 2 RB1s potentially, depending on how you drafted, depending on where you at in the draft order. Definitely got a wide receiver 1. Probably got a decent tight end if you took Hockenson a little later or something to that effect. Then on top of that, when you take everything into consideration, you probably got a really good bench. So you're sitting at a phenomenal spot if you have Geno Smith as your quarterback, because this is his bye week this week. So for 10 weeks, he has catapulted you for 10 weeks. Very dependable for 10 weeks. And he ain't going to stop. So there's always one, sometimes two. I've won leagues with Tim. I won a league with Tim Tebow, guys. So, dog, there's always somebody. There's always somebody. That's my point. There's always somebody. Every year, there's always a guy, maybe 2, possibly 3. Right now, those guys are Tua, Fields, and Geno. We talk about it every year. The quarterback position is something that you have to make a decision on and understand the risk, because God forbid somebody that takes Patrick Mahomes early, Patrick Mahomes get hurt, you're pretty much done. Same goes for Josh Allen. You're pretty much done because you don't have no definite running back, and now you're going to take a significant downgrade in position. But if you waited late, your downgrade is going to be minimal long term from that standpoint. All right. Enough of me talking about quarterbacks. That was a really good discussion. It is now 12:12. I need to get off. I normally don't last this long. Just want to have that discussion about quarterbacks. It was a fun discussion, and I really wanted to talk about it. But this will be the last question, and I'm gonna call it a night. I'm gonna call it a day, and I'll probably be on in about 15 minutes. Pickens, Olave, or Gabe Davis. Give me the risk and chaos of Gabe Davis. But in the order, give me Gabe Davis, Olave, and Pickens in that order. Chris Olave, Allen Robinson, Chris Olave. All right. All right, guys, we're done here. I have to shut it down. Rashad will be live in about 10, 15 minutes, so I got to get ready. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. If you haven't done so already, you can follow me on Twitter at ChampD1012 if Twitter still survives. Make sure you follow the channel at Panther Nation PC on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and the whole 9. And I'm out, guys, and I'll see you guys in about 20 minutes. Peace.